So this episode is called The Awful Truth. So we open up, Carrie is talking about her friend Susan. Susan Sharon, she married a very mean man. And we see Susan, she's like this loud, heavy accent New Yorker. Her husband is this like little meaty chump who's like yelling at her, like yelling at the top of his lungs.
That is quite the intro. A little meaty chump.
Meaty chump. That's what he looked like.
He is a chump.
So Carrie says she only sees Susan like 1 to 2 times a year now that she's off married with her terrible husband. So Susan and Carrie meet up. They have a little night out and they head back to Susan's apartment. And Susan's like, we have to whisper because Richard's asleep. It's like, okay.
In this massive apartment.
Big ass apartment. He's probably rooms away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Susan gives Carrie her birthday gift and then they're kind of laughing and they get a little too loud. And the husband, of course, wakes up and he comes out screaming and cursing. And at one point, I don't know if you saw, he was literally on his tippy toes as he was screaming at them.
I can't.
Every time he like yelled, he would like go up on his tippy toe and like come back down. It's like, I could not.
Oh my God. And that's why he's married to Susan. Susan takes that shit serious. I start laughing. You on your tippy toes? I'm gonna start laughing at you.
I'm gonna laugh at you, dead ass in your face. Like, what the hell? So Carrie heads home. She's like, I don't want anything to do with this. And Susan calls her up embarrassed and is talking about like how emotionally abusive he is and asks Carrie, what would you do if you were with a guy like this? Would you leave him? Should I leave him? And Carrie says, quote, if you're not happy, life's too short.
As I hung up, I realized I had just been placed in a classic no-win situation.
Vague enough.
I think so too. I think that was a pretty good answer.
I think so too. She didn't give a yes, she didn't give a no. Just if you're not happy, life's too short. Do with that whatever you need to.
Yeah. Yep.
So the ladies go to brunch, Carrie, Miranda, Charlotte, and Sam. And Carrie's telling them everything going on with Susan, and they talk about how like telling your friend to leave a man is like a no-no. And they're like, Carrie, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Charlotte, of course, is like, no, you have to be honest. Like,
oh my God, this girl.
I know. Other than that, Miranda is telling the ladies about a new guy she's dating who really loves dirty talk. And we see him in bed with her saying all this nasty stuff and
narration.
Full narration.
Yeah.
And Miranda, he's like, what do you think? What about you, Miranda? And she's like, what you said.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of storytelling of what's happening in the moment, which is a very specific kind of kink.
Yeah. I'm not a talker, personally.
What?
I'm Miranda. I'm like, what you said? I try, but I just feel so not me. I was resonating with Miranda the whole time. I'm just like, I can't. I'm like laughing at myself as I hear my voice saying these things. This episode, definitely I was like, ooh, Miranda, I got you, girl.
Oh, man.
So from Miranda's perspective, she's like, sex is not a time to chat. I'm not into it.
Yes.
And all the other ladies are like, no, just say this, just do this. Trying to help her out.
This must be a personality thing. This is really interesting. Okay.
It could be. I'm more, what do I want to say? I'm just more, I don't know. What am I trying to say?
Like zoom out of it, right?
Yeah.
And like you're spending this like really like animalistic connection type of thing with your partner and you don't want to talk. Like, think about why you don't want to talk, I guess.
Yeah. Not that I'm in silence. Like, I'm not sitting there.
Yeah, right. Oh, that would be crazy.
Yeah. Not dead silent, but like, I don't know. This narration, well, tell me this and tell me that and tell me that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's on me.
Yeah.
Try my hardest from a man,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But I might laugh a little bit in the moment. Anyways, Carrie, she gets to wondering.
I couldn't help but wonder.
Have we put such a premium in being open and honest that we've lost propriety, is what she says. Are there some things in a relationship one should never say? So we later see Carrie and Susan go shopping, and we learn that Susan left Richard. And they're in the middle of a messy, mean breakup. One of the things he said to her was, I'll be remarried in a year and you'll be single for the rest of your life. That's when Carrie, you saw in her face, she knew she gave herself the ill setup.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
By telling
The
Susan
worst. Yeah.
anything, because Richard might be true. That might be right.
Stop.
It don't take enough for these men to find little mean ass chumps, as mean as he is. If he has some money, he'll find him a little young thing. Susan might be there by herself. Sadly, just the way how this world is working. Then Susan asked Carrie if she could stay the night. I was like, see, this is weird.
That was so trifling. You not gonna ask me to stay at my apartment with a whole arms full of Gucci.
Right.
That's what you're not gonna do, bitch.
No.
We are going to the Hilton or some shit. We're going to the Langham. And we're gonna stay and have room service. What?
Anyways, Charlotte buys a dog, a little dog named Henry.
That was ridiculous. That secondary character was very unnecessary, but okay.
Henry, yeah. Samantha and the little tiny dick man.
Oh my God. Wait, do you know that song or that reference?
Little tiny dick man?
Yeah. Don't want no short dick man. Okay, never mind.
What's that?
Jody, you might know it. Put it in.
Teeny weeny, teeny weeny, shriveled little short dick man.
Don't want no short dick man.
That's a song?
It's a little EDM song.
Please drop that. So Samantha's with her little short dick man, and they haven't had sex in weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks or something.
Oh my God.
Aww.
And she's not saying shit to him about what's wrong. Like,
no, she's using that vibrator in the bathroom and
on the low,
keeping it moving.
Keeping it pushes. She don't want to say shit to him.
The apathy out of Samantha is strange.
Yeah, she hits things head on. She's bold. She's honest. But something about this dude, she just doesn't want to. I don't know what she's doing. She doesn't want to ruin it, I guess.
I don't know
she
either.
Hates him.
Yeah, she resents him for not having sex as often and for having this tiny dick. I don't know.
But he asks her to go to couples therapy. So
that was a lot.
Now, Miranda, she's still with her dude who's talking in bed. She's giving her best go. He's, getting into it. She's getting better at it. Susan is still reeling over her husband, questioning everything, asking Charlotte, should I do the right thing? Carrie, what do you think? Did I did the right thing?
Yeah,
this is where
so unsure.
Yeah, so unsure. Later, we see Big sends Carrie a bouquet of red roses for her birthday.
I thought this was so corny.
So unoriginal.
Send my favorites, nigga. You really know me. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Or send me some like unique color. Like blue roses.
Yeah.
Unique shit. I don't know. Red roses. You can just pick that up any bodega street corner. Why should I be impressed?
Right.
So Miranda and Samantha are like, rip the card up.
Yep.
Yep. And Charlotte's like, no, this is the grand gesture.
No. This is the grand gesture. The grand gesture.
I love how she said the grand gesture.
As if there's just one available.
Right.
He has to do just one. And as if this is grand for somebody who has a driver who follows him around all around New York City.
Right. This is actually really low of him. He could do better.
Very
seems low budget. Yeah.
You could tell Charlotte's in Bachelor Nation. Just with that one line. This is his way of saying like he loves you. Girl, if you don't snap back into reality.
Snap out of it.
Oh my God.
Charlotte also says something very disturbing. She's like, well, men can never really say they're wrong.
Oh,
so this is that. And she like tells Carrie she needs to reconsider because this is his way of saying he was wrong.
Oh my God.
What? Oh my
Charlotte,
God. Charlotte, we need to have a little bit of a higher standard, please.
Yeah. Just saying.
When these people get away with murder. Jeez.
I know these men just walk over.
Yeah. So Carrie, she says this is the vague gesture. And she doesn't like how this puts the ball back into her court. And it's just making things weird. Now it's like she needs to call and say thank you. Or like she doesn't know what to do. And now it's hers. Friend, I couldn't help but wonder.
I couldn't help but wonder.
What's a grand gesture that would win you over every time?
Oh my God. Okay.
How about you flipped your hair? Like, oh my God.
Because now I'm really thinking about it now. It would have to be something really, really personal. You know what would really get me? And this is something that no one's ever done for me, but I would love it. You guys all know that my longest standing relationship in New York is with my nail artist, Natalia. I would love if this person who I was in this world dating contacted Natalia, which is not hard to do, and say, listen, I'm paying for her nails for the next 6 months. You know what I mean?
Whoa, next 6 months. Yeah. Nice. Hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't get me a Dyson. Don't get me a 1-800-Flowers. Don't get me no edible arrangement, whatever. Personal. Something personal to me. Me and my girl, we both eating because of you.
I like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And pre-planned, preemptive. He calls and he's got it paid out for the next 6 months. That's nice. Nice little touch. I like that. Nice. I like that. Mine was really low bar.
Christ.
A restaurant reservation.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be like either a like going out to, what's it called, Tabitha's? Who's this person? These people?
Tatiana.
Tatiana.
Yes, please. Yes.
You go like a restaurant reservation there for like a Saturday night for 5.
Yes.
And it's not, he's not there. It's just like us, Eloise, Leah. Like,
all the girls.
It's a girl's night. Or a surprise inside the house date with Domino's. I thought you would possibly say that too.
Yes. I just like the planned, intentional things surrounding food. I'm very easy to please. But I want it to be, you booked the reservation.
Yes.
You called the Domino's. I don't have to do anything. I just show up. Food is the way to my heart. That is the best gesture always that will work with me. Anyways, Carrie, of course, decides to call Big to thank him for the flowers. And he says, well, my secretary had it on her calendar, so...
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, my secretary had it on her calendar, so
Oh, so your secretary sent them.
So quick to undercut her. So quick. I wasn't thinking about you.
Yeah. He could have lied.
He could have lied. He didn't feel the need to. He didn't.
No.
He knows it's not going to go either way.
Yeah.
He's getting in that pussy tonight. Yeah. So.
I was like, what? That was honesty that was something you should have said in a relationship.
Yes.
When you forget somebody's birthday, but really it was their Facebook that reminded you. You don't have to tell them that. You know what I mean? Why did you have to say that your secretary cares about you more than I do? Like,
exactly. Why is another woman involved again? Oh my God. Always. I can't stand him. Oh my God.
He's actually the worst. So Carrie didn't bat an eye, didn't even blink twice at that.
No.
And invited him to her birthday dinner. And he's like, oh yeah, well I have plans. I'll stop by. I'll bring someone. So vague even too with that.
That is vague, but the specificity of when my birthday was, how you found out, and who sent the flowers, that was an incredibly specific story. You see where he leaves out details specific? Yeah. Like, he is so manipulative. Oh my God. This character is written so well. Jesus. That's why we're really so frustrated, because he's so perfect. Like, this is exactly how this thing acts.
Captain Vague, truly. Gives some answers and not others. Just no consistency. Now, Samantha and Little Dick Man are at couples therapy.
Yeah, with a woman.
With a woman, yes. And he reveals that he found Samantha masturbating and tries to like press her on it. Why are you doing that? What are you doing? Da, 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 da.
Oh my God.
And Samantha eventually blurts out, well, your penis is too small. Sorry. And he says, well, your vagina is too big.
It's too big, which is probably what he's been saying for 35 years or whatever.
It's always the other woman.
Yep.
Oh my God. So I'm happy she got out of that. Even the therapist was like, girl, I get it.
Yeah.
I love the counselor. She was like, yeah, girl, I know. It's like, oh God. Miranda, her and her dude still dirty talking. And afterwards they're like debriefing sex. And she says, well, you know, you like it when I slip a finger in your ass. And
finger in the booty.
Shuts all the way down.
Yeah, this was still so this was taboo like 5 years ago.
Yeah, ass play. No one was talking about this. For men, this was not a thing. Yeah. So she being honest and open, and over here talking dirty and whatever.
And this is what you like.
And this is what you like.
And this is also just us in here.
Right. Ain't nobody here judging you. It's literally just me. And he just shuts down, doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to acknowledge it. Just like, and Miranda was so like confused. She was like, what? How was I supposed to know I was off limits?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh my God, the gay panic.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. So that night is Carrie's birthday dinner. Big shows up. He brings a friend, a guy friend. So Carrie's very relieved. And Big is having a blast, getting a little lap dance from the belly dancers. And Susan is there as well. She realizes at that dinner she misses her husband.
Yep.
Charlotte, her dog. Yeah, this whole arc
tore up, right? The dog tearing up the house and then going back to that was so stupid.
That was weird. She ends up giving the dog to Susan, and Susan gets back with her husband. So I guess that was the way of like bringing the dog in or whatever.
I guess they're all three mean together now on the Upper East Side.
Yeah. And then after dinner, we see Carrie and Big go for a little stroll.
Unnecessary.
They part ways, no kiss, no hug, just looking at each other.
And he leaves her on the street and he doesn't even hail a cab for her. He's so nasty like that. Like, you ride with me or I'm leaving you on the street to catch the M16 cross town. Like, that is so evil. He is the worst.
He really is really bad. And Carrie ends the episode saying, one thing I couldn't say to Mr. Big was, I'm still not over you.
No, man.
Oh, Lord. So let's chat. Carrie's question, are there some things in a relationship one should never say? So I want to start with Susan and her whole situation. So
yes,
Carrie's in this very weird situation with Susan. Susan is very open about how terrible her husband is.
And so is Richard.
Richard too.
He said, get the fuck out of my house to her friend. That's wild.
That's wild. Susan uses the term emotionally abusive. She says that to Carrie. And then Carrie, as you said, witnesses for herself how horrible he is and how abusive he is. Now, Susan came to Carrie, right? Like, hey, my husband's terrible. What should I do? Should Carrie, in being a good friend, do you think Carrie, after witnessing what she witnessed, should have approached Susan and been like, girl, what's going on in your relationship?
There's a very specific way to go about that and to do that. So I don't think so. I'm trying to think for real. Like, should that be like of concern? Or should it be, is it her responsibility?
Yeah.
Is really what it is.
Yeah.
I think if you would feel a way about your friend staying with that person and it bothers you that they are being emotionally abused and you know this is a story where it's like it's one-sided and they don't know how to get out of it, then like letting them know that you are there to support them is really important when they're trying to get out of an abusive situation. So making sure that they know you are there for them is actually first before interrupting the progress of the relationship, I think.
Yeah.
Because they got to do leaving, right?
They got to do it. Yeah, that's on them. I feel like, one, it depends on how good a friend this is. Susan, to me, feels like an acquaintance, a going out friend. So, girl, that ain't my place, dude. But if this is one of my best friends, like, if this was you and I witnessed him yelling and screaming, like I witnessed it with my own eyes, him yelling and screaming. This is not just hearsay, you telling me he's abusive, whatever. Like I sat there myself and I saw it. I may have to sit with you and ask, girl, are you happy? Like, I don't know if I could, in my conscience, sit and sleep at night and not say something. Because it's not just like stories I'm hearing.
Right.
I saw it for myself, you know? I have a friend. I also need to follow up with her, actually. She came to me for advice because this happened to her.
Really?
She literally witnessed her friend's husband. So they went to like a brunch party. She left the brunch, got off the elevator, and she sees this couple like fighting ahead, like by the exit as she's walking towards the exit. Guy is like in the girl's face, like yelling at her. She's like, oh my God. And as she gets closer, she's like, the fuck? It was her friend. And so she yoked up her friend and was like, let's go. And he was drunk. You know, everybody was kind of drinking, whatever. Sends him off. She takes her friend to her parents' place.
Nice. Okay.
And brings her home. And as she's there, she realizes, like, he does this. And the whole family kind of knows and is, like, complicit in it. They're like, oh, man, he did it again. Like, one of those.
Okay.
They kind of just, like, normalized it. And it put her in a really weird spot because she's like, my friend is surrounded by people who don't care to see that she's in harm's way.
Yeah.
And now I've witnessed this. She's opened up to me about what the hell's going on with them.
Yeah.
What do I do though? She's like, I feel like I'm on an island because
Yeah.
I literally walked into her house and everybody's like, oh girl, it ain't nothing but a thing.
That's
And she's
insane.
like, I just saw something wild. Like,
Yeah.
what are you guys
Yeah.
talking about? So I felt it. That was like a rough spot. And the advice I gave her, I was like, well, if it's because it seemed like it was really riding on her conscience. Like she's like, I can't help unsee what I saw. You know?
Yeah.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, my suggestion, I was like, take her out to lunch or drinks or brunch or just the two of you and just let her know, like, I'm very uncomfortable with what I witnessed.
Yeah.
And just to let her know that and just kind of be there for her. Ask her if she's okay, if she's happy. Let her know that this behavior isn't normal, even though she's in her head being made to feel like it is. And everybody in her space is like, girl, it's fine. But basically just like be that voice for her because it's clear she doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And it would be nice for someone to hold that space for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's tough. I think for like a best friend, a very close friend, I would, I feel like that would be my role. That's what I feel like I would have to do just for me to sleep at night.
Yeah, because it will weigh on you when you witness stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm wondering too if this girl, Susan, whatever we're talking about, if they have familial history with this, because there's no way that like my mom would brush off something like that.
Yeah.
Right? She would. My mother would say something.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes it's just a repeated pattern. And sometimes you have to make that friend know this is a pattern. Like, even though your whole mama said it was fine.
Yeah.
this might be a pattern.
Fine. Yeah. This is actually not normal. Icky. So now your friend asks, should I leave him?
Oh my God.
Have you ever been in this position? What's happened? And what's the best approach?
I sure have. I've been in this position a bunch. The best approach is to throw it back on them, which is pretty much what Carrie did, which is ask them, are you happy?
Yeah.
Because I'm not in the relationship. I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
So I can't sit here and, say that. I've also said on Mike before and to you before as well, I don't like getting into the middle and the mix of people's relationships because the woman is always going to take the man's side at the end of the day until they are really ready to go.
Yeah.
They're going to take that man's side and they're going to be like, that's not my friend. You're jealous. That's just how it is. Systemically, that's how it is.
Usually that's how it ends.
Yep. So, especially when it's really, really bad like this, you just have to kind of like distance yourself and all that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think your friend, I agree. Saying, yes, girl, leave him, like directly giving her an answer or a directive is just like not the move.
Not even therapists can say you have to leave it. Orna doesn't say you have to leave him. So I'm definitely not telling you. Hell no. If Orna doesn't feel like she can tell people, well, that's all I need.
That's all I need to know, to never say yes, girl, leave him. Yeah, your friend has to get to that conclusion on their own. I feel like the best we can do is ask questions to kind of lead her in the direction of making that decision. Even leading questions, even like guiding questions to kind of pull her in a specific direction, but you cannot give her that answer. But as you said, asking things like, are you happy? Like, is this the relationship you envisioned? Is this someone you want to raise kids with?
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Yeah. How would life be with this person?
How would life be? Yeah. When you go home, do you feel like your home is peace or is it hell? Like, just asking them those things to get them to come to that conclusion on their own, because ultimately your friend is going to do whatever they want to do. And I just think as friends supporting other friends struggling, our job is merely to hold space for conversations.
Yes.
Hold space, ask questions, allow them to like wrestle with their feelings, look themselves in the mirror, cry. But it has to be led by them. Any actionable things needs to be led by them.
I fully agree. And I do think as well, so many women don't leave, not only because of like abusive cycles and all the rest of the things that are actually going on in their relationship. Societally, women are told nonstop, it's just better to be with a nigga. It's just better to have somebody. So you might as well stick with them. Dr. Umar just said this like 2 weeks ago. On some clip on some podcast talking about, if my daughter came to me and said that her husband's cheating on her, I would tell her, is he beating you? Does he provide for you? Like, you might want to stick this one out.
Jesus.
Oh,
goodness.
Yep. Which is why he has no kids. Anyway.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, it's just always a slippery slope because also you want to like protect your friendship. I mean, I feel like we've all had a friend who's been in a abusive relationship of some form, whether it's physical or emotional or whatever the hell. And that fine line you dance of like knowing you want her to leave and you're so close to saying, bitch, get out, leave him. But then also the risk of saying that and then she ices you out.
Yep.
And then she's really off on an island with that dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And maybe she too may not likes it or anything like that, but maybe it's like Susan where that dynamic works for her.
For whatever reason.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why Carrie's not that good of friends with her. Like,
right.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a tricky one because I think that is the biggest risk is like telling, or the most like dangerous risk in this scenario is telling a friend like, yeah, girl, leave him. And then she doesn't, she stays. But then she remembers you told her that. And so now she ices you out. And now things maybe get worse. And then she doesn't have you to turn to, or she doesn't go to you because you're the friend that told her to leave and she doesn't trust you anymore. So it's like really trying to protect that trust out of protection for your friend too. You know? So another thing that they cover in the episode is just like how much you share with your friends with what's going on with your relationship. Susan kind of like opens up to Carrie about how terrible things are with her and just says a lot, I guess. She's also seemingly very desperate, like needing someone to talk to and like remind her this is like not normal. But what is your take on like how much you should share about your relationship with people in your lives?
I definitely still struggle with this as far as who to tell what to, especially mid-fight. There's part of me that wants to talk it out, part of me that wants to walk around the block. I'm not good at confrontation and I'm not good at fighting. And I also have, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can relate to this, I have a very specific you're too sensitive wound that makes me want to verify all my emotions. So it makes me want to overshare.
Okay.
So I have the tendency to be like, am I too sensitive or is this fucked?
Yeah.
Am I being too sensitive or is this like something I should be getting upset at? And I have to verify these emotions with other people because I was told growing up, you're too sensitive. Not, that doesn't matter. You're just crying. What is it? Right. So that combination is a pretty nasty and filthy one. So that makes me want to overshare quite a bit. I also have a lot of longstanding friends though. So I have one friend who's in a very similar romantic relationship dynamic as I am, where his partner is extremely introverted and he's extremely extroverted. And it really helps to confide in him about some of this stuff because he really does get it in a way that other people don't.
Yeah. That's nice. Finding someone who has every relationship is different, but someone who has like a specific dynamic that is aligned with yours. Yep. That you can go to confide in or get advice or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I generally, I'm just protective of Nate. I'm protective of like our relationship. I've had friends who've only shared the bad and then they wondered why I hated their boyfriend. So I feel like I just learned from that like, and the guy ended up, the guys are like good guys, they're married now, right. Like, it's fine. The guy ends up being good, but yeah, I just never wanted that for my partner. And I want to be protective of like the sanctity of our relationship and understand that everyone goes through shit in their relationship and it shouldn't be reflective of, he's this partner now because of these fights or whatever the hell. So yeah, no relationship is perfect, and I don't pretend that Nate and I are perfect, but I'd rather he and I solve our issues between the two of us. And if it gets really serious, we employ outside help. As in a therapist or whatever. I've talked about it before on the podcast. I did premarital counseling, which was so helpful. It was so nice to talk very openly with somebody else about our relationship in a way that felt very safe, that as much as I love my friends and family, might not always feel safe because
why not?
Because I know they're biased to me. And I know in some scenario, I mean, Uncle Max, my premarital care, I got read in some of them sessions.
Yeah.
That's more the advice. I don't want someone just going to be like, yes, woman to me. You know, if I'm really going through something, I do sometimes need to know about myself. You know, to really reconcile an issue, I can't just be told, well, Nate did this, Nate did that, it's Nate's fault. No, sometimes it's two to tango. Sometimes it might be my fault, or it might be, you know, I might be contributing in some way. And so I'm just always conscious of that. Like my friends, my family, like they have my best interests at heart. They are biased to me, which is obviously lovely. But for some situations, I might not be that helpful. I might actually need somebody to be like, well, here's your part, or here's what you need to work on, or you know what I mean?
Do you find with your family, especially older members of your family, who are supposed to be doling out advice? That's what I always thought their role was. Speaking from me and my family, their allegiance to you being taken takes over their allegiance for you as an individual woman. Because I'll hear like, don't fight with him, don't leave him, he's good, don't leave him. I hear that a lot.
I see what you mean. I feel like I used to hear things like that like early days, right? Yeah, early days, like
pre-engagement.
Yeah, probably pre-engagement.
Yep. Still vulnerable.
Vulnerable. You know, don't do too much. That's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like I used to get some of that, which again, it's like that makes me question, like, are these people the best people to be getting advice from? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's not to say I don't have my moments where I vent, like, I don't talk to anybody about what's going on with me, but you know, sometimes you do want to vent. You find it productive to just kind of like share, unleash, you know, whatever mess is going on.
Yes, especially if it's stupid.
Mostly if it's stupid. Yeah. Exactly. I recently went to dinner with a friend who she and I were both just like commiserating over how our husbands are just like terrible planners and how frustrating it is, and you know, planning the date nights and doing all this, like, and it was nice to, it was stupid, but it was nice to like commiserate with somebody. Like, I know, right? These men don't do no, like, they don't have like, one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
But what I appreciate about that little venting session is it doesn't put Nate in a harmful, terrible light with my friend. And I am choosy about what I do share about what's going on with us and whatnot, out of protection of, I don't want him to ever be judged over this like issue or this whatever we were in, whatever fight. I don't want that to paint this is Nate now in a way that I've had that done to me with friends where they told me just all the fights and then I just think of him as this dude. You know what I mean? And I can't help that.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of one-on-one interaction or group interaction with those friends' boyfriends? So you can make your own. Oh, okay.
No.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's bad.
So I'm just going off of what they're telling me, and it's not great stuff, you know? I feel like, we talk about a lot, huge proponents of therapy. I'm a huge proponent of counseling, premarital counseling, couples therapy, blah, blah, blah. I feel like when you're going through something super devastating, obviously you have your friends and family around to like cry on and get that support and help. But I, thankfully, fingers crossed, Nate and I haven't been in anything where like catastrophic, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like in those instances, having unbiased, like a blank slate to sit across from to understand what's my role. I think I need that because I don't know if I don't know if I could trust my family and friends to tell me that.
Yes. That's why we love couples therapy so much, the show. because it's truly an unbiased look at who's wrong and who's right. Because when you look at some of these couples, I forget their names, but the one this season where the guy was living in his mama's house and the other one was like a lawyer and taking over the whole thing. Like, you could tell, you could look at them and be like, well, that nigga's a bum. That's why she's mean.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But then Orna was pointing out, no, you're harsh here. And no, you could be softer here or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, to the woman, which is something that I just never even thought of. I was like, this girl grew up in New York City. She's hard as fuck. And this nigga is trash. What is there to talk about? Why are there 8 episodes of these people? But those blank slates really give you that clarity in a way that your friends cannot. Your friends cannot do that for you.
They just can't. Yeah. So also in the episode, we see Samantha struggling to tell her man some truths about him. We also see Miranda also struggling. She's too open, allegedly, with her man. I mean, about
whatever
the things he likes in bed, but whatever. In both instances, we see the man react in a very fragile, bruised ego kind of way. You have Samantha saying not enough, Miranda saying too much, and either way, they both react like they can't take it.
Yeah.
Are there some things in a relationship you feel like one should never say to their spouse?
I don't think there's like a specific list of things you should never say. I do think there's certain things that you should tiptoe around and you should phrase a very specific way. So opinions about your partner's family members, you got to tiptoe around that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good one. Think about that. That is a good one. Family, they have that relationship before you.
Right.
And even though you might be their wife, whatever, you're their everything now, their family is still very dear to them. So yeah, that's a good point.
And still like where they come from. So it's not like you're not insulting them when you say something overtly nasty. No matter the relation, you could be no contact with these other people. You can't be talking about those people too crazy.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good one. Yeah.
Thanks, friend.
Family. Yeah. Family gets tricky because it is their... The same way I'm talking about, like, I'm protective of Nate, and yes, he is protective of his family. Your partner's protective of their family, even when their mama's turning up or their dad says some crazy shit. You know what I mean? They still, that's them. That's an extension of them. So you do have to kind of walk on eggshells a little bit to understand how can I phrase this and not offend you. You know? Yeah. I feel like just speaking from my own experience, Nate and I feel like we are very honest with each other, radically honest. We have a culture in our relationship of just talking through a culture in our relationship. Well, I like that. I like the idea of the concept of relationships. Every couple defines their own culture, right?
What?
What? You and Crunch have a culture. The two of you. Yes. The way you do things, the way your household runs, the way you guys talk, the way you move, the little things that you do, the little inside jokes, the little way that you conduct your life in your household. I think of it as like, it's like your own little culture.
Okay.
Just like every family has their own little culture. How we do Christmas, how we, you know, I talked about on the pre-show movie night, you know, every family, and a relationship is like a little family. I like the idea of thinking of it as like a culture. You're defining your own little culture.
Okay.
So I feel like one of our things with our culture is like we talk through all of our issues. We're very open. We're very vocal with our feelings. If you know Nate, you know he's like a very reflective person. He's a avid journaler. He's very into like self-development, doing better, like doing a lot of self-reflective work, trying to be a better person, understand, you know, being in tune with his inner self to understand how to be better. And so, yeah, I feel like one of our core values within our relationship is being very protective of our culture of honesty and speaking truths. And I'm not, you know, I could say today I'm not sitting here with a bunch of like secrets or little white lies or like things I'm like guarding from Nate, because I feel like just knowing me, it would eat me up. So I'm not even good at lying anyways. I much rather show my whole ass and let him deal with it than for me to lie and have secrets and let that shit eat me up, because it'll eventually impact the relationship anyways. So yeah, I this question I struggle because I'm like, are there things that you shouldn't say? Like, I don't think. I'm sure everybody I'm sure there's things I haven't told Nate. Like everybody has things that they keep for themselves.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know if there's like anything one should never say to a spouse or
you know
what I mean?
It's just the phrasing of it. Like I think with both Samantha and Miranda, these men have such bruised egos because they were both talking about sexual performance, and men get really sticky about that kind of stuff. And they both said it very overtly, and to their face. Right, your dick is too small. You are. What did Amber Rose say to that horrible thing she said about Kanye West? You have fingers in the booty ass bitch. What did she say to him? Something like that. Remember she said that on Twitter? You remember that? Oh my God, it was such a great day.
Oh goodness.
But it's so radically honest, and it is surrounding a very, very intimate part of oneself, and they are not in a marriage. So saying something like that overtly and that honestly, isn't that nice?
Yeah. Particularly to someone you're not really that committed to.
Yeah.
So it kind of just feels like, why are you being mean? You're just being mean to me.
Right. You're just being mean. Yeah, exactly.
Productive for us.
Yeah. Not fingers in the booty. I don't know what, well, we know, but you know.
Yeah, an example that I thought of actually of a time where I was really honest in my relationship and it was hurtful, but I had to be honest. So, you know, we do the podcast here. I used to run a nonprofit as well. I was doing both at the same time, building the podcast with you, building the nonprofit, and the whole thing was eating me alive. I was just 4 years, I was just like burnt out to a crisp. And you and I had a meeting with Patreon. We had a really good meeting with Patreon. Like, they were just like, you guys are doing amazing. Like, it was just a great business meeting.
Yeah.
And I left the meeting and, you know, caught up with Nate, was sharing with him about it. And it kind of hit me with like a ton of bricks. Like, wow, this podcast is really something. Like, I really need to dedicate to this. I think it would be worth it for me to really go after this. And it kind of did a, you know, podcast versus Dorson type of situation. And the podcast was paying my bills, so that also was like a huge checkpoint. But yeah, saying that out loud to Nate, it was very devastating for him, but also, I mean, for me for sure, because I was struggling so much to balance the two, and here I was actually like making a choice, kind of. But it was also very devastating for him because it was shattering a dream. You know, we had a dream, the two of us, of building Dorson into something, you know, and here I am saying, I can't do it. Like, I have to choose this other thing. And it was really tough because it was honesty that was hurtful. And it was honesty that definitely did a number on our relationship. I would say. Really?
Yeah. Just that honesty in itself.
That honesty within itself, because it impacted our trust. You know, Nate, I think, felt as if, you know, is this something you knew all the time? Is this something that you just thought of this today? Like, what have we been building this whole time?
Yeah, you know? That's where I'm thinking the hurt is coming from. How unexpected that decision came, and you came to it alone. And I came to alone, something that we're building together. And here I am, like gravel. Yeah, right.
Boom.
Right.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was rough. It was really, really rough for a while. Just kind of like the fallout of that decision. And as hard as it was, and as much of an impact it had on our relationship for a while, I never regretted being honest in that moment.
Yeah, especially of how good that meeting was. I'm thinking about that meeting, the one that I'm thinking of. Yeah.
I never regretted it, and also as much as it had a grave impact on our relationship, and then we had to kind of like pull ourselves out and really kind of like rebuild trust and kind of, you know. renegotiate like what are we doing with our future and dream and what does the nonprofit mean and all
Okay. Yeah. Is he like, he was upset because he felt like, okay, she made a decision about her future that impacted me that she didn't think about.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
A decision for myself, but impacts him and everyone around us.
Yeah. Right.
So it was tough, and it was honesty. It was truth. It was like real truth. When they say truth hurts, that was truth. That was hurting. That was really hurting him.
Okay.
But it pushed us into a space that we realize now, looking back, it pushed us into a space that we needed to get to. That I don't think I was ever going to be honest with myself about how I'm going to manage building a podcast and a nonprofit at the same time. I was just going to keep going and pretend like I could do it and drive myself into the ground and drive all of us into the ground trying to accomplish these two things. And it was the impossibility of our circumstance became so clear when I finally said the words, I can't do this. And our relationship ultimately is better for it now because, I mean, Dorson was a whole weight on our relationship. And I say all this to say truth hurts sometimes. Sometimes it is devastating. But what I came out of that is your person, your partner, if they're truly committed and they're really about this life, love you up and down, unconditional, blah, 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 committed, you should be able to withstand that obstacle of hearing that truth. Yeah. And lying, because I could have lied and said, no, let's just continue, you know?
Yeah.
Lying to avoid the obstacle was not going to be any better.
No.
So, yeah, truth hurts. That's why that I could say. And truth can definitely hurt and be hurtful and have an impact for sure. But I think it's always the better option than like pretending with your spouse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, especially when it's like, I want to go achieve my dreams. Not being honest about that will come back. There's no way it can't come back. Pretty quick. I would
at some point
assume. Yeah. I will have similar conversations in my relationship about some of the rules that we have and parameters that we have around family. Because family can be, for both of us, I don't know what it is, but can be a bit invasive. I think it's where we're at in our relationship. We're engaged, right? We're like on the family planning track and all the rest of that. And people just want to be in because they want to know what their role is going to be. It's very selfish moves that people are making. And I'm also going through therapy right now, and I'm at the point, have been at the point where I'm like, I might be in therapy for like a little while because my relationship with my mother and father has changed so drastically since I've gotten into a serious relationship. And he doesn't know my parents before this. I knew them before this.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was best friends with my mom in my 20s. We would do everything together and hang out all the time and do all these kinds of things. It is not like that anymore. It is very different now. So he can only take my word. So when he speaks about my mother, he has to really put some glasses on and think about, okay, this used to be Justine's best friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, okay.
Instead of this lady is damn near verbally abusing her over the phone. Like this is like really wild. And not encourage me to do anything too drastic. Thinking about the time that he'd never met her.
Oh, wow.
That you know what I mean? Because he doesn't know her any other way, but thinking about, okay, it didn't used to be like that.
Yeah.
Having those lenses on is really, really, really important. Otherwise, you can say some really hurtful shit that might not even be true. Because the depth of these relationship goes, I've known this lady my whole life. So don't be talking about her any kind of way because I've known her my whole life.
Yeah.
It's my longest relationship. So
yeah.
When we make those kinds of rules of, okay, we're not doing this if this. If she asks this, we say this. If da-da-da-da. And y'all get ready. My therapist already told me, get ready for the burr months. The BERs.
The burr months.
The burr months. They're about to go crazy. And it's election year. They're about to go crazy. And I know there's some women who definitely don't listen to this podcast who are really dealing with who they're voting for and what their spouse is going to say about it. That's another secret that white women really be struggling with.
In particular. Yeah. God bless y'all.
Really be struggling with. No, not really. Actually, leave that nigga. I don't know what you're doing with him, and he definitely hates you. So if you're listening, he hates you. Anyway. But yeah, I think that when you have to kind of create those rules and parameters and boundaries, it's helpful because it helps you not get into those situations where you should be saying fucked up shit about the other person's family. You know, it doesn't put you in the position because you're a unit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another part of relationships too, moving as a unit. And
Ooh, girl, I live for it.
moving as a unit. And then, so as you're describing, like some of the acrobatics we expected of our spouse to understand how to move and navigate. And in my case, I'm making the decision for myself, and it's like, okay, I want to be supportive to you, but also like I feel a way and I want to honor my feelings too. And just like the expectations we have for them to like, show up for us in so many different ways, but then also like protect themselves and make sure that they're not, dishonoring themselves. Or if Crunch, for instance, has like an opinion or something about your mom or whatever, like that he wants to share, that's his honest he wants to do, but he also has to like tiptoe and navigate, and it's acrobatics basically. So I'm describing.
Yeah.
It's a lot that we expect of our person. They expect the same of us. And that to me is just like partnership, just part of partnership.
Yeah.
What about in a friendship? Do you think there are some things one should never say?
Faux cheesy.
Okay.
Absolutely, for sure. But I think this is true for any relationship. You just have to communicate and navigate effectively. I think this is coming from someone who I have a communications degree. I do not want to have any type of miscommunication ever.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want nothing to land the way I wanted it to land. So there's certain things with friends that you can say, like, I think this is so weird. When people talk about other friends' finances, I think that shit is real weird. And crazy.
How does that come up?
It comes up. It will come up. Oh, she spends so much money on her nails. Oh, she spends so much money on this. Oh, she has this or that. Like, people can be like pretty judgy about like what you buy. People be in your pockets. And I just think that's so unnecessary.
Yeah, that just seems whack to me. Like, why do you have opinions on these things? And why are we talking about it right now in this moment? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels unnecessary. It feels like, crazy. But that's also another wound of mine that I'm showing, right? I had a certain private school experience where I was frequently judged for finance and lack thereof. I'm trying to think of other things. Oh, with your friends' relationships, just like agree with, or not just agree with what she says, but if you can see it's going too far or she's complaining too much, just like try to shut it down the best you can.
She's complaining too much.
Yeah. If she's like showing you too much, if she's telling you too much and you don't want to be involved, just like shut it down because it's not worth it.
Yeah. Uninvolve yourself if you don't want to be involved. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you can't tell people how to live their lives. You can share concerns, you can ask questions, you can poke and prod. But I feel like one thing you should never say to a friend is like give directives as to what to do exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what we see with Susan's trying to like drag some
an answer like, out of some
roadmap out of Carrie, Charlotte, somebody just tell her. And that I think you need to be wary of and just like remind your friend, like, girl, you grown. This is your life.
This is your life, girl. You live it the best way you can. We are all struggling. You just tell a journal.
Right.
You know what? Another phrase I really hate hearing out of a friend, and this is something we all had to grow out of. I would never. Yeah. Don't be saying that shit.
Yeah.
Don't be saying that shit, girl.
Call me first. I was like, wait, what? Oh, just that phrase. Yeah.
Oh, I would never.
Yeah.
Would you never?
Like, and it just lands. I feel like that always just kind of lands a little hurtful and judgy. Yeah. So, yeah, not great. Not great. Yeah, I think as friends, it's just reminding your friend, like, you're the expert of your life.
Yeah.
All I can give you is opinion.
The power. I can give you your power back. You are the control of your life. Yes.
You are the expert. You know better than me. I don't know shit from fuck. I can only give you my opinion. Or if it was me, this is what I would do. But who the fuck knows what I would do? Exactly. That's not me.
Exactly. Right.
So we are all making it up anyways. So whatever decision you make today is the best decision. And it's for you.
Yes.
It's you making the decision.
Yep.
And that's really it. Yeah. Last question I have, friends. So Carrie ends the episode saying, "One thing I couldn't say to Mr. Big was I'm still over you." So she's kind of saying she's like lying by omission, right? She's not saying out of omission. We also see Big this episode can't, as Charlotte says, he can't say he's wrong. So he sends flowers as a grand gesture instead.
Yeah.
Are Carrie and Big doing their relationship a disservice by leaving so much unsaid?
They are. Carrie specifically, because let me tell you why. She thinks that she hasn't said, "I'm not over you." She fully has. The second you called that nigga back after them flowers and he said, "My secretary sent it," because he knew he didn't even have to try.
He didn't even have to try.
As soon as he said hello, she was like, "Hi, wow, it's my birthday. Wow, you know about it?" Like, he knew. So by her not saying anything, she doesn't even know. He already knows. So she thinks she's being like cool. "Oh, and I'll come to my party. Yeah, bring some hoe. I don't care. I'll be with my girl." And then hugs the friend all crazy. He knows already, girl.
Yeah, he already knows that she's not over him. Yeah, I think what irks me with Carrie and Big, speaking of cultures of relationships, I feel like they are establishing this culture from jump of sweeping things under the rug.
Okay, yeah.
They had their first big relationship thing. He went on vacation and she last minute didn't come. Like, that's a huge, big riff. And they're just not talking about it. And they're just sweeping it under. Now he's at her birthday dinner and it's like everything is fine. And they are establishing this culture of like, when things go wrong, we can just sweep it under the rug and it's fine. And when has that ever worked? When has sweeping something under the rug ever in the history of the world worked for anybody? You just know it's just downhill from here.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Friend, what did we learn this episode?
He's a smart guy.
Girl, don't tell your friends what to do with their lives. They're gonna be fine.
They're gonna be fine.
They're gonna be fine unless they won't. And you have to call the hospital. That's different. But otherwise, they're gonna be fine. And just as you said earlier, ask questions. Questions are very powerful.
Yeah.
So just do that.
Ask questions. Yeah. Hold space, ask questions, poke and prod. But be very weary of giving like direct directions on this is what you should do. Or if it were me, this is what I would do type of thing.
Yeah.
I also learned your friends are, it's amazing to rely on your friends. It's amazing to have great friends and support and community around you, particularly when you're going through a breakup or going through some fuck shit with your man. But there are some things I think that should stay within a relationship, or you need to seek professional help. Because as Samantha says, I don't know what episode this is, but I saw the little clip. Your friends are just as fucked up as you. It's the blind leading the blind. Okay. We are all out here pretending.
Yes.
So
French just reminded me of this. What did Freud say? Your birth is trauma. So we all start out traumatized.
Yeah. So you're a great wise friend. I'm sure you have friends who are very wise, gave good advice. She don't know nothing either. She's also making it up. So in some instances, when it's really heavy, you might need to seek some like actual help. And go to your friends to cry or some things that are, a little light. That's it, guys. Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Hopefully next week they're at the beach or something. This was a lot.
Yeah, these first two episodes, like boom, boom, talk about emotional abuse and shit. I'm like, God damn. Rate, review, and subscribe, guys. Join us on Patreon. Find us on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. And we'll be back next week.
Sure will. Bye, guys.
Bye.